It's the holiday season.
Or Sigourney first, above all.
I would be willing to let the two of them get in a cage and fight it out. But who would win?
Are you saying Sigourney's a Nazi?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Popcorn and Coffee. I'm your host, Jesse. As always, with me here is Jahaziel. How are you? Nice. We don't shake hands. We should start doing that.
Yeah.
On the desk is Kolin.
Here, alive.
In his place, yes. A lot of sicknesses going around. We're trucking through the holidays, though. Yippee-ki-yay. Fill in the blank. We have a special Christmas episode today. We don't have a bunch of movie news. We pretty much decided on, in preparation for the holidays and for Christmas.
Yeah. We
watched and we're going to discuss and review 3 different Christmas movies. Three Christmas movies.
Yeah.
It's not your typicals, but they're there.
Yeah. So.
One's definitely more traditional than the other.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got that.
Yeah. So you get a good taste of our tastes.
And maybe we could discuss before we start, because like I said, we don't have any news.
I have news.
You have news.
I have a lot of news. Well, not a lot. I have one piece of news.
One big news.
I'm assuming Disney announced. I didn't see who announced it, but I'm pretty sure it's Disney.
Okay.
They are releasing, or going to start making, in the works, Princess Diaries 3, starring Julia Andrews and what's her name?
Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Julie Andrews is still alive.
Yes. So they need to get this movie in film as soon as possible.
You know who that is, right?
I can remember the face.
Sound of Music.
Yeah.
She was born in 35.
Oh, yeah.
So she's old.
That is impressively old. Still a huge Julie Andrews fan, though.
Yeah,
I love her to death. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anne Hathaway.
I like Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, she's great. National Treasure.
No, she wasn't in National Treasure.
Oh, that's right. That's Nicolas Cage.
Easily mixing up.
So the question is, though, do we need a Princess Diaries 3?
I think we do. I'm excited. I like I'm
Why?
Why? I enjoyed the other ones.
Cameron went straight to you on that one. I'm gonna lie, I don't think they're terrible movies. I've seen worse movies. They're whatever. They're fine.
I mean, the second one you get Chris Pine. Sorry,
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was in the
I
second
don't remember that movie at all.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first one.
The first one was Anne Hathaway's first big movie role.
Yeah,
I think she did some TV stuff before that, but that's her first feature film.
Yeah.
What do you think that movie's going to be about? What was the second one about?
The second one was she had to get married before she could become queen. She couldn't be queen unless she was married, so she had to find a husband.
That's crazy.
And she had to find a husband.
Santa Claus 2'd it.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that came out before Santa Claus 2. But,
so Santa Claus Princess Diaried it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what this one's going to be about. Assuming she probably has a baby.
She has a child.
She has to.
Because she's in her 40s now.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah. And Anne Hathaway's in her 20s, so I don't...
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Julie Andrews.
No, she's in her 80s.
She doesn't look a day over 35. Julie Andrews, we love you. You're a national treasure to Great Britain.
She could come on the show at any point.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I would give up my chair.
I would give up Sigourney's chair for her.
I gotta veto that. I can't allow.
I would say... But the question is...
I will always stand for Sigourney first, above all.
I would be willing to let the two of them get in a cage and fight it out. But who would win?
Sigourney.
Sigourney.
I mean, Sigourney would win.
She's fought alien. Julie Andrews fought Nazis, though.
But it's Sigourney.
She single-handedly brought down Hitler with her voice. I mean, what else?
Are you saying Sigourney's a Nazi?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
If the swastika fits.
Oh, gosh. How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Is she?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's Susan Sarandon I'm thinking of. She's not nice.
Ooh. She's probably very nice as well. I don't know.
I don't know them.
Oh, Indiana Jones. I saw they released some more info about Indiana Jones 5.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the de-aging they did on...
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Well, they said it was set in the 60s, and I was like, ooh, you better de-age that boy.
Yeah. Well, I thought
the whole
last
movie
one was
de-aged?
set... The last one was set in the 50s, I think.
But he wasn't de-aged.
No.
So he was old.
Right.
And now he's even older.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Like, even in the original Indiana Jones, he was old.
He was old.
Well,
he's a professor, so he's at least in his like 40s.
Right. They never actually specified the age because there were weird relationships with him and his students. And his students were like way younger than he was.
But regardless, they're like... What show was it now? I'm trying to think. Series of movies. It's like the X-Men, you know, where every movie that comes out, they're supposed to be 10 years older, but they look... It's only been actually like 3 years, so they all look the same age. You can't set one in the 40s. You can't set the original one in the 40s, the sequel in the 50s, and then the sequel after that in the 60s, and yet they're 2 decades apart.
Well, so...
In actuality. Filming.
If you think about it, So Temple of Doom was actually not a sequel. It's a prequel to the first Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I just found that out recently. So it technically goes Temple of Doom is set before everything else, and then you go Raiders of the Lost Ark and what was the last one?
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade. Those two are set in the 40s because we know that because the Nazis and World War II and stuff's going on.
And then the next one came out with Shia LaBeouf and Aliens.
Yes, and that was set in the 50s.
What a bad movie.
Oh, it was terrible.
Anyway, that had Kate Blanchett in it, though.
Oh, you're right. She had that bad haircut.
Yeah, she played the Nazi. You're still Nazis.
No, they weren't Nazis. She was like Russian, I think.
Oh, well.
It was 50s. It was Russia.
Okay.
The Cold War.
Sense. This has nothing to do with movies.
No, this is not Christmas.
Well, Christmas, that's what I meant.
We should get into Christmas, though, because it's the holiday season.
Okay, so it's the holiday season. Anyway, we all picked a movie to watch as a group collectively. So we watched 3 movies. Are there any honorable mentions before we move into this? Do you have any backups that you were considering before you picked the one that you picked? You were pretty quick on the fire of like which one. Oh, it's this one. This is the one I picked. But
my 2 honorable mentions that I probably would have picked would have been It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart, because that's my all-time favorite Christmas movie, and then the new Christmas Story movie that came out the other day on HBO Max, the sequel.
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
I've heard nothing but bad about
It's a Christmas story. It's called A Christmas Story Christmas.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it. I don't know.
I will watch it because I do like the original movie. So
yeah, the original was fine. It's just I don't hold much stock for this one.
Yeah.
Did you have any others you were considering?
It's pretty much Krampus all the way. Once I was thinking about it, like I have to come out of left field. Like we can't just have some average run-of-the-mill Christmas movies.
I love your when you said you picked that one. I was like, oh, this is so cool because I'd never seen it.
I'd never seen it either.
It's a Christmas horror movie. You know, it's just a.
I wanted to go with The Rise of the Guardians, which is an animated movie. But do you know it at all what that movie's about?
Only briefly what you had mentioned about it.
Because it's legit. Like, the Sandman is robbing kids in the night. So Santa Claus has to get together with all the other fairy tale creatures to stop him. So he's the villain. Then the protagonist is really Jack Frost in that movie. But all the other ones are there, and Santa's there, and he's like this big Russian, just covered in tattoos. Like, he rolls his sleeves up, and he's tatted everywhere. Hugh Jackman plays the Easter Bunny. So he's like, he runs around with boomerangs, and like, it's legitimately a really fun movie. Like, it is.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
But I couldn't find it on any streaming service, so I was like, we're not buying it. So I went with a different one. But let's start with your choice.
Yeah, so I picked 1987. Is that right? I forgot the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1987's
1984.
Or 1984's Christmas Carol, starring George C. Scott, Frank Finley, Angela Pleasance, and Roger Reese. Is that right? I can't read that. Sorry.
Roger Reese.
Yeah, I love the Christmas Carol story, like the book and stuff. I like the movies. I've seen a few of the different variances of these films throughout the years, like the Muppets Christmas Carol, the one with Patrick Stewart, Christmas Carol, the original one from like the 1930s.
That's a big thing when I was looking into some of the other stuff about the movie. Like, there's been a ton of variations on it.
Yeah.
Just a ton. There was one that came out recently in like 2009, I think. 2009 one was the Disney one where
with Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey played all the characters, just like the Tom Hanks Polar Express, where he played all the characters.
I never did watch that one. But yeah, you got Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Another thing I noticed in reading into it, which was hilarious, knew nothing about it. In 1997, they released one that was called Mrs. Scrooge.
Really?
So it was pretty much a Scrooged story, except it was a woman. Her name was Ebonette Scrooge.
Ebonette.
Scrooge. I can't even say it. Scrooge. I don't know. But it came out in 97, so like, bold move. Whoever was behind that one. Respect.
I didn't realize Kelsey Grammer was on A Christmas Carol, the musical.
It's a musical. How crazy is that?
Yeah. And then you got a couple years ago, Guy Pearce played in a miniseries on, was it TNT, I think?
I think that was like a dark.
It was dark. I wanted to watch it. It looked really good. But it's long.
But it has Guy Pearce.
It's got Guy Pearce.
That's the biggest problem with the whole thing. Can't stand that guy.
Would you let Guy Pearce come on the show before Sigourney?
Absolutely not. Not a chance.
What kind of stupid question is that?
Just to roast him. I don't know.
No.
Make him shave his eyebrows off.
Nope. Anyways.
I didn't realize that it was made for television.
That caught me off guard.
This one?
The version that you wanted, the George C. Scott version, was made for TV.
Yeah.
It didn't really make a difference, you know?
For me, it did for a while.
Really?
Yeah. The frame rate is 30 FPS.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like a stage play.
That's the one thing I was going to bring up.
It was distracting me a lot.
Really?
I liked it. I like it a lot.
I didn't, just because I was not at all expecting that. And then it made me think this is a TV movie.
Yep.
So it puts it in that same kind of bracket as soap operas because they're filmed the same way.
Okay, yeah.
It redeemed itself in the back end. By about halfway, I was hooked.
I really liked how it felt like a stage play. I liked elements of how plays are done because, and I listen to a lot of actors, big name blockbuster movie actors who talk about loving to go do theater, you know, Denzel, Hugh Jackman, all these guys, because they can, every night you do it, you're giving it a different performance.
Yeah.
For a movie, you're doing it once, and that's the performance you give. Whatever it's sealed as is what it's sealed as. But they go out, and they're constantly evolving that character for however long they're playing it. And sometimes they do it really, really well, and then other times it falls flat on its face.
Yeah.
And for this to have that feel, I was like, oh, that's really interesting, and I liked it. You know, I just enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the acting was good across the board.
Yeah.
Some of them, like that first Ghost, were surprisingly good. I was like, okay, this is on a different level than I thought it was going to be. And even the VFX wasn't terrible.
When he unties his little bandana and his jaw just falls. Like, it reminded me of just a play, and it's just like, okay, well, they didn't have the CGI to do what they wanted to do back then anyway.
Yeah.
So why not go out with it, you know?
Yeah, just make it a little eccentric, but really sold it.
I think it adds to the time that they're trying to capture. I feel like sometimes when you get too much CGI in some of these films and stuff, it looks, it's like, oh, okay, you can tell it's CGI'd, you can tell it's supposed to look old, but it looks modern still. And this film, I think, captured that time period perfectly with the stage play effects and stuff they had.
There was one goof with the effects when the one lady's got that like big hat, the lady ghost, I don't remember which one she was.
Okay, yeah.
And it's supposed to be floating next to her. You can see the fishing line. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Again, they're working with what they got.
It's hard to mask that.
Yeah.
Especially because they don't have that kind of technology. You just got to line the shot up in lighting to make it hide.
So that really goes to, you know, thinking about what they used to have to do for the shots like that and what they have to do today. I would argue, like, back then they were, I don't want to say better filmmakers, but you had to go out of your way to hide that stuff. These days, you don't have to do anything. Just leave it plain and shot, you know, tennis balls everywhere, and then on a computer somewhere, some guy's just going to get rid of it.
Yeah. The scenes, once they keep continually going. So this was the one we watched growing up the most. Like, we had it on VHS growing up. So it was like, that might be part of the reason it's my favorite that I've seen of it, but it always scared me growing up, especially like when they got to the third ghost and stuff.
That last one was creepy.
Yeah.
Like big old wraith looking thing.
Yeah.
Vera asked me, because we were trying to figure out when we were going to watch, and she's like, well, the kids could watch it, right? And I was like, yeah, let's just watch it without them. I really don't want to, to get into that. And while we're watching it, I'm like, yeah, it's probably best that maybe they didn't right now.
Yeah. But yeah, that last one, and then when the one ghost, the first one, like, shows his grandkids, like, and pulls his robe up, like, it's terrifying. So
disturbing.
Scary.
Yeah. That guy, the way they framed him and the main actor together, the main actor's 6 foot. That guy's 5'9".
Really?
Yeah, they framed it to where he was always on something or stilted when he's walking, because he towered over everybody.
Yeah.
So that was just another unexplained why they did it, but just cool thing they did to make that character stand out.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ghosts. They all had their own individual thing.
Yeah. What draws you to that story, though?
I don't know. I mean, there's a redemptive aspect to it, obviously. You got a grumpy old guy who hates Christmas because...
It goes so much further than him not even liking Christmas, especially in this one. He's like, there's too many people in the world. I wish some of you would just die. And it's just like, dang, man, like, you don't just hate Christmas, you just hate humanity.
Yeah, he just hates.
All because he lost a girl.
Yeah. So
Tiny Tim's creepy in it though. Like
he's a little strange.
Yeah.
He's almost like a Pokemon. He only knows one line. Yeah. All he can say is that one thing.
God bless us, everyone.
Like, we get it. That's your tagline, but can you converse?
They really made him look sick though. Like
they did make him. Yeah,
that's kind of the point
with the black stuff around his eyes and all that. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's one I try to watch every year.
I enjoy it. I would say, like, we always grew up watching the Muppets one with Michael Caine, and which is probably the best Muppets movie.
Oh yeah,
that's probably the best one all the way around. So that's the only one I remember watching growing up. I can't think of any of the other ones.
You never watched the Patrick Stewart one?
I don't think so. No,
it's been a long time since I've watched it, so I can't say one way or the other. Remember really if it was good or not. I'm sure it was. It's Patrick Stewart. So
Logan,
Timmy.
Yeah, it was never that storyline in any of its different movies. Were never ones we watched a lot.
Really?
Yeah. It was always just the main Christmas story.
Just Christmas story.
24-hour loop.
Really?
Yeah.
There's like TNT where it's just playing it over and over and over again.
Every Christmas morning.
Well, then you definitely got to watch A Christmas Story Christmas.
I have ties to the original. It doesn't mean that I have to like this one.
There was a sequel that they made?
Yes.
There's A Christmas Story too.
Yes. It takes place in the summer though.
Oh.
I watched it a long time ago.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's dumb.
It wasn't good.
So we're talking about these movies. We obviously have 3 that we're going to talk about. Should we give it some sort of a rating? Like, where would you rate that Christmas
One
Story?
other thing about that, just from either the time frame that they're in or the culture or whatnot. How do they sleep with that clock tower? That thing is extremely obnoxious every single hour, not just 12 o'clock.
12 and 6,
Yeah. I would assume you probably get used to it. It's like people that live next to trains.
I don't hear the trains anymore. That's true.
But Scrooge lives.
You don't hear anything.
Scrooge lives in that place, and he was waking up to it every hour. Clearly, he should be used to it by now. He's been the guy.
He's not wrong.
Maybe he was just having a hard time sleeping that night, anyways, and he was blaming the clock tower. Like,
I don't know. It seemed a little strange.
Little sus, you're saying?
I would be able to sleep through it.
I mean, once I'm dead asleep, yeah, I probably could. But
are there clocks in the world that actually ding every hour, though?
The
that
one
I don't
Judson
know.
does.
Not every hour.
It doesn't?
I'm pretty sure it's 12 and 6.
That's what I'm pretty sure, yeah.
The fire alarm goes off here, like the town siren, at 12.
Does it?
And that's it.
I don't think anything else. I don't know. That seems excessive. That's why.
There was one time it must have malfunctioned or something because it went off at midnight.
Really? That is weird. Waking everybody up. Probably thinking there's a tornado or something.
It was just all calm now. There were no storms that were in the area or anything.
So how many cooked gooses are we going to give this?
How many turtle doves?
How many choice turkeys? Out of what, 5?
Out of 5.
Yeah, you got it.
Sure. What do you give it? This one's nostalgic for you.
I give it 5 out of 5.
You give it a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I would probably say 4 or 5. It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I'd say 4 at the lowest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good Christmas movie.
Good Christmas movie.
Nothing bad I could really say about it. Nice thing is it's clean, so
Yeah.
it can be in every year, and
Oh yeah.
it's just the scare factor would be the only
Right.
thing age-wise.
Which kids do you let watch it?
Yeah,
Right.
like how old it, or
I mean, I was watching it at like 8, so
We were also. Are we gonna call it out on the pod or not?
no, you just you keep your thoughts to yourself.
Come on. I'm just saying Shrek is not a very good kids movie.
I thought you were talking about something else.
I was. I pivoted.
I don't know. I don't really let my kids watch Shrek.
My kids don't watch the first Shrek. They watch the rest of them. Shrek 2 is a good movie. I'll stand behind Shrek 2 all day.
I think Shrek 1's a good movie.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Don't think it's a good kids movie.
So, okay, 4 or 5 out of 5. That one works. It's a good movie. Moving on to movie number 2.
So that would be Krampus, and it's a Christmas horror. Came out in 2015. Got Adam Scott, Toni Collette. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. I think it's David Koechner.
I think so.
That's how you pronounce it?
I think it's Kushner.
He's in the
Anchorman.
movies.
Yeah.
All I saw was The Office.
Champ.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's also in The Office.
The Office. Yeah, so this one was just an out there kind of pick. I'd seen it roughly around when it came out, and some of the most disturbing visuals that I've seen, particularly just that one character,
Yes.
that Jack in the Box.
Well, you texted out. Okay, so before we get into like those elements, because I definitely want to talk that quite a bit. The premise.
So the premise is the one guy's mom is from Germany, and she had previously survived the Krampus situation, which is like a void in the Christmas spirit to the point where the supernatural steps in because you've given up on Christmas and humanity. So instead of having Santa come in, Krampus comes in, kills your whole family, and then can optionally leave one person alive to let other people know.
His motivations are
Pure. Well, so
Or not very well thought out.
I thought he left her alive because she was like the only one that did believe in Santa and had that Christmas spirit.
but
It was
she
like
said
a
she gave it
marker
up.
of that happening so that there was somebody to tell the tale of what happened. Was kind of the way I took it. But that's kind of like what Krampus is in this story's context. The story itself is just a family Christmas that comes together, and then the people are just at odds at every corner. So it kind of recreates the Krampus original scenario.
Yeah.
And then things start falling
And
apart.
it all comes into play because the main kid who's supposed to be the most innocent is
He
like,
also gives
well, now I hate Christmas, and Santa too rips up his thing and rips up his letter and throws it out the window. Mm-hmm. What a movie. What a movie. So okay, and let me clarify as well. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill them.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you frame it.
Okay. Well, because you also have to factor in that it's a horror movie, but it's rated PG-13. Mm-hmm. So it's a very clean. It's very clean.
Pretty much other than 2 F-bombs, that was the worst of it.
Well, I even just from like a horror stance. So there's no gore.
It's really
there's no
minimal,
anything.
yeah.
Most of the stuff you see, most of the stuff that happens is done off screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's all implied, yeah.
But it doesn't imply that he kills them.
It does, in the sense of when you look at the ending.
But did he? Okay, well, we're gonna spoil Krampus, which I didn't write down when it came out. I don't know what year.
2015
or 7 years ago now.
Yeah. They end up in a snow globe in his house, pretty much. Very insidious, like I might add.
It's purgatory after he cast them literally into hell. He literally cast down the people into hell, and then they end up in purgatory in snow globes.
In the snow globes. Okay, that's how you took that.
That's visually what it presented to me.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know once they were in the globes until they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Until
kind of
basically he told
all
them.
realized simultaneously.
Yeah.
Something was wrong.
Okay.
So it's like the tiny drop of mercy at the end of the evil is they get to live together and have their little happy Christmas, or
Yeah.
so they think.
Yeah.
But that's it for eternity.
I didn't get a sense that he killed them. And I'll say it in as much as the scenes where he had opportunity to kill them, he didn't. So I get it, the throwing him into the lava hell pit. But like there's the scene where the Augustus Gloop kid pretty much was like, okay, the cookie's hanging in the chimney, and you see like this giant hook come down. You see the hook. They focus on the hook for a very long time, and I'm like, ooh, that's tense. And then obviously the cookie's the bait, and Augustus Gloop, I'm just gonna call him that because I don't know his name and he didn't speak the whole movie, goes to get the cookie. And as soon as that happens, the cookie, played by Seth Green, I don't even remember it speaking, but it did its little like chirping, which
All
was
of the chipmunk voices with Seth Green.
was Seth Green, which I thought was hilarious. It ties him up. The hook is irrelevant at that point. The scary thing that we're like, because even Veer was like, it's fishing for him, expecting him to get hooked and go, but it doesn't hook him. It just wraps him in chains, and then the hook is irrelevant and pulls
if you
him
go
out.
back and read, I was reading some of the Krampus folklore and stuff of the Krampus devil. That's what he did. Like he would either beat you with his broom, or he would drag you to hell with a chain. Like that's what he did. Like
I guess.
so,
Beat you with his broom?
yeah, like Belschnickel from The Office. Him and Belschnickel are both two German folklore things.
Yeah.
They don't coincide in the same universe, but they,
Krampus was intense looking, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought the visuals were really good.
Yeah.
Now, my issue with the movie, because I enjoyed it, I did like it. My issue with it was I think it had a hard time. Was it trying to be a comedy or was it trying to be a horror film? And the only reason it was hard, because Toni Collette did great, and she is great for horror movies.
She's done a lot of them.
Oh, my goodness.
And her scenes where she was like terrified looked terrifying. When she was angry,
She's
looked angry.
phenomenal.
Yeah. The problem was Adam Scott and David Koechner.
Yeah.
Kushner.
I think Koechner could pass enough as that character he played to still be in a serious movie.
Yeah.
It was harder to see Adam Scott.
Yeah.
I know.
He just didn't seem serious.
And there were a couple scenes where I thought he genuinely was like
He had his galvanizing
serious
moment,
acting.
and that was like the best point.
Yeah, but then it was quickly toppled by some sort of cheap joke.
Yeah,
or
that's-
you know.
Like when they're in the attic, he's like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Those
mean,
creatures didn't do the movie any favors either. You know.
it was kind of flirting on the line of
Small soldiers.
yeah,
Yeah, it was like
really
just
goofy, campy villains.
although and to,
Except for Krampus is just the horror of all. Of
except for Krampus, and now we can go ahead and talk about that other thing you were going to bring up at the beginning.
that thing was like their protected tank.
I thought it was incredible because it was terrifying.
Yeah.
it was so disturbing.
And I mean, you see, and that's the first person you see like actually die in the movie. And I'm not watching this movie, you know, to glorify horror or anything, but you see it like a snake eating her. And then it's that clown face and its mouth opens up in that weird way. And it's just like, holy crap,
Yeah,
that's
that, like,
scary.
segmented smile. Open.
Yeah.
And the scariest thing about that creature was the clapping.
Yes.
Well, happy
Before the
smile,
elves
and then
came
the
in.
clapping, and then it gets wrapped in the chains and drug out. You could also play into if your idea was that they don't kill them. It was just a capture device.
It could be.
The snake
Could be.
aspect was just to trap them because they had that plan to come in and chain it out.
Mm-hmm.
So could work in that element.
And then the elves came in, and I was like, oh my goodness, like now we're borderlining on this type of. It tried to do all the things, I feel like, and effectively did nothing because it tried to do all of the things instead of like honing in on one niche. It tried to do something. I was like, okay, you guys are just like, and as the movie progressed, I was like, okay. I really liked the premise. I really liked it. And then execution, I just didn't think came through for me.
See, I like the fact that they went through a lot of the different horror stuff, like not catchphrases, horror tropes and stuff. Like you had like the toys, and then you had the cult looking elf type things, and then but I just think it drew too much away. Like you go from the elves, which is very like gothic and creepy, and anything in a mask is scary anyway. Whilst in the kitchen, David Koechner is getting attacked by gingerbread cookies shooting him with a nail gun. And I'm just like, like this doesn't work. This doesn't work for me.
Yeah. It's like it kept it a little too light, like too much levity by the comedic elements to where it didn't hit hard enough if it was trying to be a hard-hitting serious one.
Well, if it went all out, and I'm not even saying it had to be like gory or anything, but if it just went dark, like lose almost any of the comedy, that could have been a very terrifying movie. The few things that really hit home to me was every time they looked outside and there was another snowman.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap.
People.
And that was terrifying.
So they knew somebody got caught
every time. Yeah, because they looked like, they kind of looked like the person that that got captured. All of those elements I really liked. And then it would cut back to just something silly. And I'm like, guys, it horror and comedy are two genres where, like, especially horror, you're building tension. Anytime you laugh, it gets rid of all that tension and you have to start over again. That's just that's how that works. There were far too many times where it tried to make you laugh. And I'm not even saying the laughs didn't hit, because some of them hit and it worked. It was funny. But I think it did a disservice to the other elements it was trying to create.
Yeah, it made it feel too much identity crisis versus just effectiveness.
That and the horror mostly was tropes, and the comedy was mostly tropes. Most of the time I was watching the comedy, I'm like, they're just ripping off National Lampoons.
Yeah.
And they were.
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore. Most of the time, especially that beginning, is just National
That's all I was
Lampoons.
thinking of,
Yes. And it's just like, okay, well, you didn't even go out of your way to come up with something creative. You just ripped that one off, you know? It was funny, but...
Yeah. The one scene that bugged me the most at the end, and I get it, it's you do stupid things in horror movies, people do stupid things in horror movies. It was when Toni Collette put her son in that truck and it was like, stay here, I'll be right back. And she knew the woman was already getting taken down, and she turned around and then just felt, it was like...
There was zero tension there.
Yeah.
Zero. Until the elf jumped in the window and I was like, oh gosh. Like...
Yeah, it almost felt like acceptance of defeat at that point.
It really did.
She's like, just stay in here. Then my last vision of you is you're safe. And then I'm just going to go die so I don't have to see you die. And then
That's so terrible.
Knew her sister was dead at that point.
It's like the end of The Mist.
I don't know. I hadn't seen it in so long that I forgot some of the stuff other than the Jack in the Box snake thing.
Is that what you text out when you rewatched? Yeah.
Like,
because as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's the scene he's talking about.
Yeah.
But even that scene was surrounded by the other creatures that were just terrible. Like, not terrible in a good way, just like, oh, that bear thing.
The bear was really poor.
Yeah.
I think if they had left the bear out, just went with the creepy little angel doll, had their levity with the robot, and then have the real terror with the Jack in the Box snake, did have been fine.
Because the angel doll, was
it was creepy,
cheesy until it got to the point where it straight up like
it was just
the tongue. Yeah, the tongue thing, and it's just like But yeah, it was fine. You know, I probably wouldn't say I liked it as much as maybe you liked it, but would I ever watch it again? No, probably not. I don't think it was worth it. IMDb didn't even list it as a horror. That was the other thing I wanted to bring up.
Really?
IMDb listed as a comedy, drama, fantasy. So I don't think anybody knows what this movie's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I would not call it a drama or a fantasy. It's not my fantasy.
I would say it's fantasy-esque in as much as creatures that don't actually exist, if that's the premise.
I would say
You're
horror
basic-
comedy or comedy horror.
I would as well.
Yeah. Whichever one you put first.
Yeah.
Just kind of subject to
Yeah.
it. But.
Yeah. So how many Krampus elves do you give this movie?
Ooh. I say 1. I think this was a really bad movie. I'm not hating on anybody who likes it. I think it's a really bad movie. And not bad good, just bad.
Yeah. I'd put in probably 3.5.
Yeah.
Because you
Middling.
compare it to a lot of other horror movies, I'd watch it over a lot of other horror movies. Just because it's not a gore fest. It's not dirty sexually, really, in any way.
Definitely not.
And language, it has some, but it's not heavy.
Yeah.
So I felt like, and plus the acting and the overall production and movement of it doesn't feel B tier or like straight to red box type crap.
No, and even the CGI, like
It
the
always
gingerbread man
good
stuff,
quality.
looked good. It did.
Yeah. That's why I'd rate it higher.
I give it a 4.
They even brought the dog
Yeah.
from National Lampoon's. Like, that's what I hate. Like, you even brought the dog. You couldn't even make it a different animal. You brought a dog.
The most unbelievable aspect with the dog was when it climbed vertically up that return. Like, hold up. For one, that's either sheet metal or it's plastic. So it's either tearing through or it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it went straight up, turned to 90. Like, how? Can't.
And you're
Especially
talking
that-
about also, it was a bulldog, so a breed of dog. They can't even really like turn around easily.
And the way that was set up in the wall, it's only as thick as the wall. It's 3.5 inches deep. That's a wall stack. It's not like.
That's so funny. Oh, the other element we didn't even talk about. Did you rate it?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
gave 4.
You gave it 4.
Yeah.
Well, you can like it. You're allowed to like it.
Different.
The animation in the middle.
That was really cool.
Again, I disagree. I'm like, why is this in this movie? Like, again,
She's
to me,
when the grandma's telling the story.
it's
Yeah.
doing
I thought it was cool.
so
Yeah,
much. It's doing so many different styles and genres. I'm like, it doesn't. No, it pulled me out of it. It didn't take me in deeper.
I thought it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it felt fine. You're already in a
I didn't think it
Christmas
looked bad.
style fantasy movie.
Yeah.
So why not have a little animation break for grandma's, background? And then you don't have to put in all of that shot reel.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been less impactful, I think. I think having it as a cartoon, if you're going to have it in there, probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't think it did. It hit as well for me as it did for you guys.
And if she would have told it too, it could have been longer if they would have had to shoot it as a reel because you would have had to get more actors to play her parents and everything. I like the shadow figures where you're not actually seeing. You don't actually see the parents. I don't think.
Not really, no. Just kind of like the shadow in the hallway was about the most of
Oh,
it.
people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only people you really see are the ones in the street
Yeah.
and the mob.
They all died. All of them.
At least purgatoried.
Something, yeah.
They were not on this plane anymore.
It reminded me a lot of Insidious,
Yeah.
which, again, I didn't like Insidious. I don't remember it. Like, that's how little of an impact it. But that was the one where the devil was, like, sitting in a sewing machine at the end of the movie, wasn't it?
Sitting in one?
At one. Like, he's just sewing.
Oh,
He's inside the sewing machine.
You don't remember that movie?
I can't remember. Was that the one with Darth Maul that popped up in the corner of the room?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because that was the
That was
demon
Satan
character.
thing, yeah. Bits and pieces. It's been
Yeah.
a long time
Yeah,
since I
that's
watched
how I like that was the one where they had the mom was listening to the baby monitor and somebody was talking to her.
Oh.
So it had like elements where like that is terrifying, but then you also had the demon sitting in a sewing machine at the end of the movie. Like, and I'm just like, what is this?
See, like Rumpelstiltskins, like spinning his golden yarn.
And it was an old style one, so it's one of these like using the foot pedal. And
Oh,
Well, he doesn't know how to use modern ones.
yeah.
Satan can't use electricity. We're safe.
Satan's Amish.
He can't adapt.
confirmed.
can't adapt to the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I watched it. You know, it's something that I can say I've seen. Toni Collette, though. how'd you get her? I can see how you got Adam Scott. I can see how you got the other guy, but what was her draw to it?
I'm shocked they didn't get the lady that played Agnes from.
Oh yeah.
Because she's usually with like Koechner and Scott.
Catherine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say about it.
No.
It was brisk. I appreciate the briskness. It was like an hour.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, hour 20, hour and a half. So they didn't bog it down with too much extra
it kept
unnecessary
its pace
stuff.
well.
Yeah, it did. It moved well. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to say about it. You guys good?
Yep.
Move on with it. So our last movie is the one that I picked, which none of us have seen. I didn't see it either. This came out in 2020. So during the whole pandemic stuff, it's also a TV movie, which explains some of the stuff that happened during the movie. But it stars Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, and Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Loved her accent that entire movie. Personally.
That was really good.
Loved it. Directed by Ishan and Ian Nelms. The premise was really just Santa lives in Canada and he's doing his thing. A kid gets coal, so he hires an assassin to go kill him. What were your guys' thoughts about this movie? And Mel Gibson plays Santa Claus.
I was definitely caught off guard by how he sounded.
Yeah.
He sounded like his character from We Were Soldiers.
It sounded like they pasted in a stereotypical Santa voice. Like they stole it from either like a toned down Tim Allen or something.
Really?
It just felt unbelievable to see with Mel Gibson. It didn't feel right.
That's his voice, though.
The way he put on. Because it felt like he was putting a character
forcing.
voice on. Yeah.
Huh.
It didn't sound like a natural pairing, and it was especially because her voice was so different style-wise to his.
Well, I mean, yeah, she wasn't even
that
American.
They were almost leaning into it to make it seem super different.
I guess.
That's just kind of the impression I got.
I thought it was. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say the premise is hilarious. Like, Santa's got a background in some sort of military ops or some sort of stuff like that. And they're actively working with the government. It's subsidized by the government. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, what Santa's? I don't understand how Santa's broke. Like he's struggling to pay his bills. It's like, dude,
it's so weird.
Like Santa's not. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I talk like that. Santa's not like magical in this. He can't.
He's to some degree.
I mean, he's definitely magical.
Where he has to be. Yeah. Or where he wants to be. He obviously doesn't want to be magical to support his wife.
For the plot armor, it has to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think it has a few things to do with, because every Santa movie does it, and it's a cliche to be like, Santa's getting in trouble in everything because his magic's disappearing. That's the premise in every Christmas movie. It's the premise in Elf. It's the yes. It's just like, oh, people aren't believing in me, so I'm getting weaker. And I feel like this movie's like peak that.
Yeah.
The fewest people in the world believe in him, so he's scraping by on magic, like barely. And I also, it just feels like, it felt like while I was watching, is he like North America's Santa? Like, does every continent supported by their own government have a Santa Claus?
Well, they said it's $1 trillion thing. There's not that much money in the U.S. It would have to be global.
I just don't see that version of him getting around the world.
By the U.S. government in Canada? How does that make sense?
I appreciated, and what I found most intriguing about it, at least for the first 3 quarters, until they leaned heavier into the Christmas stuff, I was like, is this supposed to be really Santa? Or is it like a person who thinks he's Santa? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it felt like this is fake, or this is so grounded that it's like borderline Shutter Island, and this guy just thinks he's Santa Claus.
I was wondering for a time whether it was like he was a completely magicless Santa and he was just the actor in that role.
Yeah.
Or like the guy doing that job and whatever that job entailed.
And then they introduced the elves and the things, and I was like, oh no, this is Santa Claus.
He's actually Santa. Okay.
Yeah.
Really Santa. What's the name of that actor that plays Cavill's dad in Superman?
Cavill.
Yeah. Cavill.
In Man of Steel?
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe or Kevin Costner?
Kevin Costner.
Costner.
Yeah.
That's who I thought the entire time of instead of Mel Gibson. For some reason, I could not see Mel Gibson, but I could see Costner killing that.
Really?
Yeah, it just seemed like the role for him.
Well,
And
even
they
like
just went with Mel Gibson instead.
they just glanced over so quickly, like him going. He's like, I'm going to work, and she's like, okay. He grabs his bag and goes to the barn, and then he comes back and he's like, he just delivered all the presents. Like that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He's also shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got blacked by some kids with a hunting rifle. It's like,
And he was strong because there's that scene where that thing tips over and he picks it up for the soldiers. So he's supernatural.
the whole thing almost felt like it was bordering on like anti-capitalist and anti-new generation at the same time, because they were trashing on the new people. That Sergeant was trashing on all the younger soldiers, and then they had him come up as the old man and lift the thing, and it just felt like you could almost flip the whole thing in that direction. And then until the twist at the end, I thought that might be what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the plot of the child who got coal and he hires an assassin to do his biddings, like his everyday biddings, not even the Santa bit, but like,
Yeah, he was just the lackey for this scrub kid.
I know Walton Goggins cracks me up too.
he was the best part of the movie.
He's
Yeah,
a good
was
villain.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird watching him without a Kentucky accent because he's in Justified and we've been watching that. And
Well, even in like Ant-Man 2, he has an accent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kidnaps a girl for him, and the
Yeah,
kid.
it's like, why are you doing these jobs? Like,
Because he's paying him money.
yeah, it just shows that that's all he cares about is the money.
But then he also doubles as a pawn star. Like, that guy brings the bat, and he's like, "How much is your
He's
child?"
got that weird Santa's pawn shop going.
Well, he's obsessed with Santa because he felt screwed over as a child.
But he loves money more because he would never go after him of his own volition. Until the money was offered.
Well, no, I don't think that was it. I think what it was he was trying to find Santa on his own. That was his own private goal. But then when the kid needed him to, and this was the only part that was like, okay, they really rushed how he found Santa. Really, like, I felt like the entire movie prior to that was he's been living his entire life trying to find Santa and couldn't. And then the kid's like, I need you to kill Santa. And he's like, there he is.
That must be why, for me, it felt like money was the motivator. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to kill Santa. I'm just going to collect all the stuff because I hate the kid.
No, I think he wanted to find him.
But until this kid offered up some big money,
Yeah.
I won't go after him.
I don't know.
Weird.
The kid was annoying the whole
Very
time.
annoying.
Yeah, so annoying. But it was still funny. He got the ribbon in the mail. And
What was the gift his dad sent him?
it was just a bear.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Like,
His dad hates him. And
That's at the end when he's just ripping pills apart, and then Santa just chugs that pig of milk. Oh, what's that? Fentanyl? That'll do the trick. It's like, what are you? You just drink fentanyl.
I tell
That's
you,
normal?
one of the best shots for me, though, was the continuous shot of him traveling. So it's in the camera's in like the same spot in the
when
car.
the car was changing songs,
And you
every
just
time.
see him doing different things. And it's just like everything anyone would do on a road trip is
Yeah.
what he's doing.
It gave him a believable relatability. It's
He's
like,
chugging
this
that-
dude is just on a road trip. Right now.
Chugging that 2-liter, and then the next shot is him outside the car taking a pee.
Yeah. Well, even when he's just dumping the pee out the side of the car, and all you see is the bottle coming from the bottom of the door.
Him going in that pet shop and picking up stuff for his hamster. And she's like, "You're a reptile kind." He's like,
Destroyed that lady.
"You remind me of my mother."
Yeah. That definitely caught me off guard a little bit.
But then it got like kind of heavy at the end. So post like him going in and shooting all that. I told Vera as we were watching it, I think the soldiers being there and that entire subplot was just to have people on the premises that he could kill at the end. Like that was it. So he's not just murking elves the entire time. They needed someone else for him to just kill.
Yeah,
and
they
that's why
probably
the
didn't
army
wanna
was there.
kill the elves as much
Yeah.
because they needed them for the rebuild.
He killed a couple elves, but
Very minimal compared to the
I
rest.
just mean the movie wanted him to have people to kill. Like the directors are like, okay, we're
He
going to
needed
place
some
these
kind
people
of
there.
additional challenge to stretch out the final sequence. Yeah.
And so he's just mowing them down, and then it gets to the end, and he had that little cop car with him the whole time. And he's like, this was the last present you gave me. And then he's like, that's the one gift I couldn't give you. What did he want to do?
His parents back after they died. It's like, I have limitations.
He's like, I can't do, and that's why this guy hates him so much. It's just like, man, brutal.
He's not God. This is the problem, children, with believing Santa's real.
It's really just angry Mel Gibson.
And he's got his shirt off in that one scene, and he's just covered in bullet holes. Like he is. If you were to put him in the water, he would sink because he is that boat is rattled with holes.
All of
Oh, I mean, he did fight in Vietnam, so.
I thought it was really cool though. Every time he met someone, he just knew them.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just like, oh yeah.
You get that magic aspect.
He was talking to that CIA agent. He's like, you had a rough patch there for a few years. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. It had a lot of language in it though.
Yeah.
It was rated R.
Surprised me a little bit.
And the violence was pretty minimal up until the end fight, but it had
And
quite a bit of
even
language. Walton Goggins pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. Even the shooting violence stuff wasn't that bad by a lot of standards, you know.
Oh yeah, for a lower budget.
Yeah, just it was enough to sell what they were going for, but not over the top or ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't say it was a TV
I just
movie.
love Walton Goggins.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, if you didn't say it was a TV movie, I wouldn't have thought so.
The only way I knew was because of the cuts in the movie. There were cuts in the movie where you could just tell, okay, that's where a commercial goes. It would just cut to black.
What did
and
it
then
stream
movie.
on? 'Cause how, or what TV channel was it?
I don't know what it released on. Maybe like an AMC or something like that. But those even still have commercials in them.
Yeah, but even on AMC, they don't say the F-bomb on there, do they?
Probably not.
It would have had to been like a
Huh. Oh, it must have been like a
Showtime. Or
Yeah, it
something?
would have had to been, I guess.
Yeah.
FX.
FX. Yeah.
FX,
Yeah.
Probably FX if I had to guess.
Yeah. Well, what one was The Sopranos on?
HBO.
Showtime?
No, it might have been FX as well. I don't
No,
know.
it was on
I don't-
HBO, I think, because they have it on HBO Max. So it was on the.
Was there language in that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
On TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Did you watch it back then?
No,
Oh, I didn't either.
I've just heard things.
Oh. I thought it was hilarious. The scene that I loved the most was when they went to the cafeteria with all the elves, and all of it is just trash. Just
Dude,
young
scooping
kids.
sugar into a bowl of M&Ms with a whole pie on the plate.
And then the captain was just asking them how they operate. And he was explaining in detail why they do the things that they do and how they optimize their time so that they can make the toys for Christmas. And I was just like, that is a very well written scene.
It was just a tiny aspect, but the dynamic between those two characters was fun.
Was good the whole time.
Yeah, because they would each have their own strong point, and then
Yeah.
it seemed like respect at the end.
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't you need protein?"
He's like, you guys would maybe be taller if you.
Just had some with the we sleep for 5 minutes, and that's why we're living longer than you guys.
They were like each picking up their own cakes and pies though.
Yeah, it was a whole pie per person.
So funny. And they didn't go out like they were short. I don't know if they made them short, if they just picked short actors.
I mean, Buddy the Elf did say the 5 main food groups.
That's very
The
true.
elves stick to them.
That's very true. So, I mean, how would you rate this movie? What would you rate this one?
I'd give it 3.5, 4 stars.
Yeah.
it was good.
I would say like 4. I was pretty happy with how it.
Like you said, other than the language, if they could.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I'd put it at a 3. Middle of the road, not astounding or terrible. Enjoyable.
Well, I mean, you didn't love the part when he points the gun at him. He's like, "You think you're the first person that's tried to kill me?" Like, dang Santa.
That was funny.
At the beginning, though, he's just going into the bar and like getting shots and stuff. I'm just like, dang.
Yeah, just like a little pinch of the bad Santa type stuff put in there.
We just lost hope. Lost hope Santa versus.
Yeah. We'll have to watch Violent Night with David Harbour.
I'm excited.
And then we'll have to do a review and be like, who would win in a fight, David Harbour Santa or Mel Gibson
Oh
Santa?
gosh.
Probably David Harbour's just by the trailer.
I'm excited for that movie because that even leans harder into the, okay, he's magical, but he's just a brute.
Yeah.
You know? I don't remember when that comes out. Beginning of December.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's right around the corner, yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely watch that one and give our
Might be
thoughts
the
on it.
second. I think it's the second.
That was the number that was coming to my head, but I wasn't going to say it all that. But you echoed it, so it's got to be it. And I think it's going to theaters.
Is it really?
I believe so. I believe it is.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Nice.
This was fun though.
I mean, we picked 3 good movies that all of us enjoyed for the most part. So that's good.
The best part of it is like, in the end, we enjoyed all of them to some extent.
Yeah.
In all actuality, this is a little bit sooner than I would start watching Christmas movies on a normal, but
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, when this is released, people.
It will be post Thanksgiving.
It will be post Thanksgiving, so nobody.
Surprise, surprise. This was not recorded.
Pre-recorded. This is our first pre-recorded. Yeah. Well, this isn't our first. You figured out. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say on any of them. It was a good time. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I got nothing else. Go ahead.
All right. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe here. You can head over to Instagram at JZoGood. Follow me. DM me if you have any movies you want to watch or want us to watch. You can watch them too. I don't care. Jesse's over at Popcorn and Coffee, and Colin's at ColinBG on Instagram. It is the Christmas holiday season.
Season. Like and subscribe to get more content like this.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, guys.